everybody. My name is Adrian Quesada of Black Pumas, and we are here for Premier Guitar's Big Five. Okay, so my favorite guitar, which is my primary touring guitar, is a Fender Custom Shop Telecaster that has a humbucker in the neck, and which I tend to kind of hang on. And it was designed by the Fender Custom Shop team, who are amazing, and they basically completely surprised me with that one. They studied basically the tones on the Black Pumas album and came and surprised us at a show in LA with this. So it was something I wasn't expecting by any means, something I had no hand in, no say in, but it's just perfect. I coincidentally ended up working with them on another design or two, and where I actually did have input, but for whatever reason, they just nailed it on that one. And it's my favorite live guitar. It does everything I want to do, from warm, thick rhythm tones to jangly stuff to fuzzy stuff. It's just amazing. Whatever they did, the genius of the guys at the Fender Custom Shop, they nailed it. And since then we've been chasing that with other designs where I actually do have input, and I kind of feel like I trust them more to know what pickups are needed than over what I would suggest. I designed another Telecaster with them when I moved to Austin. My parents took away my guitar when I came to college here because I got really bad grades. I was failing out of school, and my parents knew what shenanigans I was up to in Austin, and I remember them telling me, like, well, you got to focus on school if you're going to be going to college, and they knew I was playing gigs and being a dumb young band guy. And so I didn't have a guitar when I came back, and I took my book money that semester without a guitar, and I went to a place called Ray Hennig's Heart of Texas Music, and which is no longer there. And Ray Hennig himself was there. I told him my story, and he had a thin line Squire Telecaster in there, and he let me buy it for whatever book money I had. He was like, you can just take this one. And with the Fender team, I ended up redesigning something kind of based on that first Telecaster that I had. And I gave them so much feedback, and it's up there in my top 5 favorite guitars, but nothing like that one that they designed for me. My Desert Island album, I would probably have to say George Harrison's All Things Must Pass. I mean, it depends on what mood I'm in, but that's one that I think would get me through a desert island. It has a little bit of everything, for being George Harrison's post Beatles work, especially after having seen Get Back and really diving into knowing the dynamics of where they were leaving off, in that period. Just seeing the material that he had and how many songs are on there that are just incredible, that he was probably showing to the rest of the Beatles. But as a guitar player, the guitar work is just phenomenal. Like, the songwriting's amazing, the performances, the guitar work is phenomenal. He was always one of my favorite guitarists. Obviously still is one of my favorite guitarists, because everything was just so perfect, and it just complemented the song. He didn't really waste any notes. It was like whatever he played just elevated the song, and it wasn't so much about showing off per se. So the guitar work is just phenomenal, and that it's almost like he invented a little bit of his own style with the slide work that he was doing. Those kind of harmonized slides and stuff, those have been so influential on me as a lead guitarist, and then the production is just amazing. I don't know how much of a fan of the production George Harrison really was with the kind of Phil Spector wall of sound, echoey stuff, but I love it. Checks all the boxes for me. My biggest guitar culture pet peeve is that when people make lists of the best guitarists of all time, and when people think of who the best guitarists are, they always think of a lead guitarist, and they always think of what a guitar player, how fast they solo or how amazing their solos are. But what gets overlooked a lot are really the rhythm guitar players and the technique, which I actually think the technique of being a rhythm guitarist is just as impressive to me personally as a lead guitarist. You know, it's, I almost imagine it like if you were analyzing basketball players and you just analyze the guys that had the best dunks, and it's like, well, yeah, but there's also, you know, fundamentals and nuance that goes into it. And I think that gets overlooked a lot, you know. And I mean, I love the guitar players that get mentioned in the conversation that are amazing lead players, like everybody, you know. I love a Jimi Hendrix solo and a Jimmy Vaughn solo as much as the next person, absolutely 1000% into it. But I do feel like the art of rhythm guitar gets lost in that conversation. Guitar hero of mine that would surprise or shock people would probably be Thurston Moore from Sonic Youth. You know, when I was you know, starting to play in bands in college and really kind of digging into Sonic Youth and saw them perform live a couple of times, I just loved just shattered all the rules. There was just no rules, the tunings and the guitar freakouts and everything. And I think he was at the center of this kind of like New York, you know, downtown avant-garde jazz, but also rock and roll, and also just all of it. And that, you know, even though you probably can't hear it in the way I play, I just always back then used to really love that it showed you just like you don't really have to follow the rules, you know. And I used to definitely try to emulate some of the sounds and things. If you're studying a blues solo, you can go and find a transcription for a, you know, an Albert King solo or whatever, which I did as well. But with some of that stuff, it's like, how do you even know how he tuned the guitar, you know? So it was really fun, because it just, you know, proved to me that the most important thing was that you have your own unique voice. When I first started playing, I put in a couple of years studying flamenco and classical music, so a classical guitar. And it was years before I even used a pick. I don't think I started using a pick till I was in college. And it kind of just out of necessity, was because I was just shredding my nails playing when I, you know, was really started to really play often and play electric guitar. Like I was just shredding my nails and couldn't wait for them to keep growing back. So I actually didn't teach myself to play with a pick until a good, you know, 8 years into playing guitar or something. I played without a pick. So a lot of my playing is just this constant shuffle between pick in the mouth and my fingers, or, you know, holding it here. But a lot of my approach to rhythm guitar is, and even lead guitar to a certain extent, I actually feel a little more comfortable using my fingers without a pick on a lot of stuff, is just having that background in like the flamenco kind of strums. I mean, it's not something I even think about anymore, but you know, it is very much a part of my technique. It kind of opened up a lot of doors for even like finger picking, which I never studied in a very like traditional country or bluegrass style. It just kind of came from, you know, some of my background. In college, there was a guy that I looked up to from my hometown, and I remember him pulling me aside, and I was, you know, young and had just started playing gigs and really just started being in bands. And I remember him pulling me aside and telling me that he was like, man, you have that thing with your hands that not a lot of people have. And it was something I hadn't really thought about, because that's just the only way I knew how to play, you know. But I think it informs a little bit of everything I do. And you know, there's a lot of times where I still don't even feel 100% confident with a pick. You know, I'm still, but again, it's just like a practical matter now, where like I can't just can't play every night at the level that we're playing every single night on, you know, for 3 months straight. I can't play my nails anymore. I would just be bleeding. I think that hybrid style of playing, being able to switch between a pick and fingers and fingernails, adds a lot of dynamics in terms of volume. I can really control the attack of what I want. You know, I know that if I want to dig in, I hit it with the pick, and I know that I can back off just a tiny bit. I mean, even just the difference between, I can strike the string with the same kind of approach or strength with a pick and with a finger, but the finger is just going to be a little more dull. So, you know, it's just this constant, I don't even think about it anymore. It's this constant like shuffling of the pick in the hand that where I can kind of control volume and dynamics a lot more. And even just picking speed, I actually pick faster without a pick. When I do try to pick super fast with a pick, it falls off all the time. So a lot of it came out of necessity, you know, just being able to whatever worked for me.
Ni siquiera reflejo de algún pensamiento que alegre su mundo. Hay tristeza.